one job was to get you in the right order, and you're not. I will leave the order of speaking up here.
So much for Marines following.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Willis, County Administrator. I'm going to do a little bit of introduction here. I may miss some folks, so when I announce who is here, I will say anybody that I've missed, please tell me who you are, because I'm not even going to try to get this right as we go through. I'll try to get you to do it yourselves and get it right. I will say just a kind of a brief introduction. It's our pleasure here in rural Calvert County to host such an important group of legislators, and I mean that. It's, you know, from whether it's federal, state, or local, it certainly is going to take everybody to get this done. The importance of this meeting is to discuss maintaining our federal infrastructure. That is such a huge deal. Most folks don't realize it. This is one bridge across the state of many bridges across the country, and a lot of money goes into this. So when you have this type of meeting, it's important to pay attention, because they take money from one area to make something happen in another area. And if you follow infrastructure around the country, this is one of the most important ongoing projects truly of all time. Having said that, just a quick brief of the order of speaking. It's our regret that Senator Van Hollen was not able to make it today. However, Senator Ben Cardin will begin, followed by Congressman Steny Hoyer, followed by our very own Commissioner President Buddy Hance, St. Mary's Commissioner President Randy Guy, our State Senator Jack Bailey, our Delegate Rachel Jones, followed by St. Mary's County Todd Morgan, Chairperson, but he's also representing Tri-County. So with that in mind, I know I have Dave is here from acting commissioner over or administrator over in St. Mary's County. I have Commissioner Hart. I have Commissioner Gadway. Who am I missing out here in the crowd? Because I don't want to miss anybody, because I know how that goes. Delegate Crosby. We've got Gretchen here. She's supporting the governor's office, make sure that we're herding everybody properly. I had one job up here, really, and that was to get them in speaking order. They decided to challenge the system, so I'm going to leave some notes up here for them. To kick this off, it's my pleasure to introduce Senator Ben Cardin, who will take us through the initial discussion. So here's that. Thank you, sir.
Mark, thank you very much. It really is a pleasure to be here. It really is nice to be here in person. We've missed you all. I was asked when was I last in Southern Maryland. I said I've been there about once every 2 weeks on Zoom, but to be here in person really makes a huge difference. So it's great to be here with my team, Maryland. I appreciate the leadership we have at the county level, the state level, the federal level. I do want to bring you greetings from Chris Van Hollen. He really wanted to be here. He's following his doctor's instructions to try to limit his public appearances, and we certainly understand that. He was key in getting an earmark that will advance this project, the replacement of the Johnson Bridge. I want to acknowledge that and the critical role that he's playing on the Appropriations Committee and on so many other issues. So on behalf of Senator Van Hollen, he sends his thanks to all of Team Maryland that are working together to replace the Johnson Bridge. I'll say a few words about Steny. Steny, of course, is the majority leader. Steny's been working on this project to make sure that we put all the pieces together. And I just want to congratulate him on his leadership on this issue and so many issues in regards to Southern Maryland. We'll talk about this bridge, its importance on safety, on convenience, on getting people back and forth. But it's critically important for our national security. We got key national federal installations that are located here that need to make sure that they have a reliable way of transport, and the Johnson Bridge is part of that strategy. Steny understands that. He's the one who developed our strategy on BRAC, base, realignment, and closure. Maryland has led the nation in a BRAC process in getting more jobs and more responsibilities under the BRAC process. But in order to make that a reality, we need to make sure that our infrastructure is up to the task. And having the transportation infrastructure is a critical part of that. So I just really want to acknowledge the role that Steny has played in making us sensitive to projects such as the Thomas Johnson Bridge. We're here today to talk a little bit about federal infrastructure. We passed the bipartisan infrastructure package. Bipartisan infrastructure package in order to modernize and rebuild our infrastructure in this country. Now, we can talk about a lot of different things in the infrastructure package. I sort of like talking always about the $238 million we got for the Chesapeake Bay, because that's important for our national treasure, and we're using that to help in regards to the Bay. But I really want to say it's a once-in-a-generation opportunity to modernize our infrastructure in this country. Maryland will receive $4.1 billion, that's a B, billion, dollars for highways and roads under the formula programs, where the priorities are set by the state. We strongly support what's being done for the Thomas Johnson replacement. We strongly support that. The decisions are made at the state level. And that's why I really do want to acknowledge the work of Senator Jack Bailey, the work of Rachel Jones always gets a single out from my office, since she represented me in the southern part of the state, and Brian Crosby, the work that he did in the Maryland legislature, the governor's office, because this is a state decision that needs to be made. And we're strongly supporting it. So in the infrastructure, the governor will have the ability to move federal formula funds to help replace bridges and maintain bridges. But we set up a separate fund just for bridges maintenance and replacement. $408 million the state will receive in this new fund that can be used for bridges maintenance and replacement in the country. So that's another source of funds. And then I mentioned Senator Van Hollen. Senator Van Hollen got an earmark to help start dealing with the roads that are necessary in order to modernize the Thomas Johnson Bridge. And the governor's requesting some additional earmark funds. So we're using every available means that we have in order to assist and be a strong federal partner in getting this done. To Buddy Hance and to Randy Guy at the local level, thank you for your leadership. It's always a pleasure to work with you on these issues. This is Team Maryland, and we're prepared to do what we can to assist the state in modernizing its infrastructure, from its bridges, including this bridge that's behind us, but replacing and maintaining the bridges in our state, modernizing our road system. I know my colleagues that are here have already given me a long list of additional infrastructure projects that you'd like to see done. We're going to move as many as we possibly can in partnership with the state. Once in a generation opportunity. Let's take advantage of it. It's critically important here for our security. It's critically important for our economy. It's important for our way of life. Let's take advantage of this, and let's continue to work as we do in Team Maryland in a bipartisan way to get results to the people of our state. And there's no stronger person in doing this than the majority leader in the House of Representatives. He has been our champion and strategy for Southern Maryland, for strategies including, as I said, maintaining our military presence, but also making sure we do everything we need to for the local economy. The majority leader of the House of Representatives, Steny Hoyer.
Thank you very much, Senator Cardin, and I am pleased to be here. This spot has a very warm place in my heart. Nobody will remember. In 1992, we had a redistricting, just as we've had now. And in the redistricting, I got 4 new counties added to my district. This was one of them. Calvert was one of them. St. Mary's was one. Charles. And part of Anne Arundel were the 4 new jurisdictions that I got. And so we did television ads. I don't do television ads a lot, as you probably know. I'm doing pretty well electorally since then. But at any event, we had I was speaking right where you're standing, and the bridge was in the background. And it was one of the best television ads I've ever done. So when I get here, I have a warm spot, because I think it sort of connected me with Southern Maryland. Now, notwithstanding that, in '92, as some of you recall, I lost Calvert, I lost Charles, I lost St. Mary's, and I lost St. Mary's. The good news, they left a significant portion of Prince George's County in my district, so I'm still here. But this is a wonderful spot, and this is a wonderful site, and it's a wonderful bridge. It simply is not up to present-day demands. It's not that it's not a pretty bridge, although a lot of people get very scared going over that bridge. You know, you're pretty open out there, and you're really high, 143 feet in the air. But since that time, we've had a lot of growth at Pax River. Since that time, we've had a lot of growth in St. Mary's County and a lot of growth in southern Calvert. And we've had an expansion of our natural gas export facility, and we have Calvert Cliffs. Both Pax, all three of those, are national security interests. Not just Calvert, not just St. Mary's, not just local Southern Maryland. They are national interests. And they require a national attention. But as Senator Cardin pointed out, it is a federal, it is a state, it is a local responsibility. And that's why we have all of us here, because we're one team. We may be of different parties, we may have different perspectives on certain issues, but there is a unity of purpose and of mind with respect to what needs to happen on this bridge. Now, this bridge, we're talking somewhere close to $750 million. $600 to $700 million is the expense that's portrayed now, but you and I both know it's going to be more than that. That's a now estimate. Now estimates hardly ever happen then. So it's going to be more than that. And no jurisdiction will be able to do it alone. I tried to get some money in the infrastructure bill for this. Unfortunately, I had money in there. Unfortunately, however, we ended up not doing what we call earmarks. Now, earmarks are called pork. Pork is a good meat to eat. Keep that in mind. We have now reinstated earmarks. That is, local members of Congress who know their districts, know their needs, have the opportunity to talk to all the officials who can bring those needs to our attention, to include those items in our legislation. We did that last year. Chris Van Hollen did that last year. We're going to do that this year, and hopefully in years to come, no matter who controls the House or the Senate. Because we need to make an investment. This bridge is unsafe. It's not unsafe if you're the single driver going across it. It's unsafe when the demands that are put on it, particularly if we had an emergency. Particularly if we had a God forbid, some catastrophe at Calvert Cliffs, and we had to evacuate. It's unsafe, very frankly, if there's an accident on that bridge, because it's a single lane going east and west, or north and south, whatever it's going. It's sort of going, it's across the river. And we've had tragedies on this bridge. So it is incumbent upon all of us to join together as partners, as Team Maryland, as Barbara Mikulski used to always say, to make sure that we invest in making this bridge safe for those 33,000 travelers who go across it every day, and certainly safe, Randy, for if we had some problem at the base and we had to evacuate going north, or we had some crisis here and we had to evacuate south. Buddy, you understand that. And I want to thank Delegate Crosby for his efforts on this. I want to thank Senator Jack Bailey, who's my neighbor, who lives just down the street from me, who's Senator Bailey was your uncle. His uncle. Paul Bailey and I served together in the Maryland State Senate. That was in 1876 when we were there together. And when I ran in that 92 election, which I lost all of Southern Maryland, his uncle did a radio ad for me in St. Mary's County. Now, of course, he was a Republican. I know some of you know I'm a Democrat. I say that speciously. But Jack Bailey and I have worked very closely together on issues. And the good news for St. Mary's County is the Republican senator and the Democratic delegate work very, very closely together. They see the interests as the bridge, not a Republican bridge, not a Democratic bridge, not an interest for party, but an interest for people and principle. So I am very, very pleased to be here with all of you to celebrate this partnership, to dedicate ourselves to completing this project. And Rachel, I want to thank you because you've worked on both sides now. You were working down here representing Senator Cardin, an extraordinary member of the United States Senate, and now you're a member of the House of Delegates, doing a great job. So you know firsthand. You didn't need any education of what to do here. So I'm pleased to be here with all of you. This press conference is about focusing, committing, and ultimately to achieving a bridge that is at least a 4-lane bridge, at least, hopefully divided, that people will not get caught in traffic jams going to and from work and using extraordinary amounts of gas and energy, but much, much more importantly, being up to the task of which we may demand in the years to come. And now, are you next, Mr. Hance? Well, let me tell you that I've known Buddy Hance for some time. I knew him as a Democrat. I know him as a Republican. He's flexible, but but he is very good, and he is my friend, and he's doing a great job. Buddy Hance, President of the County Commissioners.
So good morning, everybody. First, I want to welcome you all to Calvert County, where the weather is always like this. I heard it was hot in St. Mary's County the last 3 or 4 days, but it was just like this in Calvert County every single day. So I want to thank our federal leadership. I was going to say it was because you live there, but. So I want to thank Senator Cardin and Congressman Hoyer for being here today and to keeping this issue alive at our federal level. You know, sometimes out in rural Maryland, we feel like our issues get lost in the shuffle, especially in Washington with everything that's going on. But we really appreciate when they continue to push this project forward. So this bridge was built back in the mid-'70s. Before that, Solomons was a sleepy little water town, and you came to Solomons. You didn't come here by accident. And that bridge was built, as I said, in the mid-'70s. I don't know if they envisioned the amount of traffic that crosses that bridge today. Every day, over 31,000 vehicles cross that bridge. And as Congressman Hoyer mentioned, you know, the BRAC realignment that came to the Pax River Naval Air Station, a lot of those people moved to Calvert County and use that bridge every day to commute back and forth to work. So it's a vital link between Calvert and St. Mary's County that we can't live without. And as Congressman Hoyer also mentioned, you know, not long after that bridge was built, they had some issues. So it's not like this is some new issue that we're just bringing forward today. That bridge has always had a few issues ever since it was built. So it's vitally important that we get this on track to be replaced and widened so that traffic can flow. You know, as was already mentioned, you know, it's a homeland security issue. For us, it's the evacuation route. God forbid anything were to happen at the base, at the nuclear power plant or Dominion gas facilities. That's the evacuation route out of St. Mary's County to St. Mary's County for us. So it's very important for us, and I'm here today to go out on a limb and commit that if we get this project moving, Calvert County will contribute $1,000 to make it happen. We'll scrape and scrounge somewhere, and we'll find at least $1,000 to get this project off the ground.
Buddy Hance is the most generous of
We do have a quorum. But so now that our federal partners have reached this point in this project, this behooves us, St. Mary's and Calvert to work with our state legislators to make sure that the state does its part and get this project ranked high enough to get it moving. And as I heard the other day, we were talking about a project, and someone was testifying, and they said, we need to make sure that this project is shovel ready before we are. So I hope that I live to see this bridge be replaced. So that's our path that we're on today. And so I'm going to take this opportunity to welcome to the podium my good friend from St. Mary's County, Commissioner President Randy Guy.
Well, you've already heard about the vital importance of this bridge. And on top of that, we've been writing letters to MDOT for the last 8 years that I've been in office and constantly asking for maintenance, updates, and whatever. And it's become more critical the last, I think March, we sent another letter to MDOT to talk about, unfortunately, suicide prevention. And both of our counties, the people have been locked up with this pandemic and everything, so we've had problems there trying to get something done, and hopefully MDOT will respond to this need right now. But there's no more repairs to be done to this bridge. We need a replacement, and that's the way it is. It's got to be replaced. Does it have to be as high as this one? We don't know yet. We're not engineers or anything like that, but we're hoping that from the state and federal aid here not coming through, thank you very much for being here today to push this. We know the state has looked at it, but it's also been a high funding problem. So with this help, maybe we'll get something going on this. And like what Buddy just said, I hope I'll be here to see it, at least get shoveled in the ground before it's, things happen here. We are actually right now. The problem right now is the challenge with our mental health for our people, and unfortunately, we've had too many jumps off this bridge lately. It's just we don't know what to do about it. The state said, well, maybe we can put a net, maybe we can put some signs up. I don't know, but they're still working on getting back to us. But the time for asking any more consideration about repairs and whatever this thing is over. We need replacement. We need it now, and we thank the federal help. And at this time, I'll introduce our great senator. Senator Bailey.
So, good morning. I will have to say in 1988, I was out here working as a natural resource officer when we closed this bridge. And we started taking people back and forth by the ferry. And I don't know if many of you are old enough to remember that, but it was a big inconvenience because we'd grown to use and utilize the bridge. And all of a sudden it was gone. And it was a big issue. But first I'd like to start today thanking Senator Cardin, Senator Van Hollen in his office, and Congressman Hoyer. Thank you very much for inviting us to be here, be part of this today. I'm proud of the work that we've done together, especially this year for the people of Calvert and St. Mary's and all of Southern Maryland. As many of you are aware, in partnership with the entire Southern Maryland delegation and our federal delegation working bipartisanly, we were able to secure funding to build a local Kennedy Krieger Institute school in Southern Maryland to support students with special needs and their families in our region. That's never been done before. We were able to take it under wing this year, and we pulled it off. And I'll have to give a lot of credit to Delegate Rachel Jones, because when she worked for you, Senator, we started this project, and then we worked side by side, and all the counties have helped, whether it was local, state, or federal, and I'm really proud of that. As everyone knows, we continue to grow our economy around the nuclear power plant, whether it be the LNG platform or the Naval Air Station here in Patuxent River. The base and its associated businesses are now the second largest employer in our state. And this area has surpassed Silicon Valley in STEM jobs per capita. I'm happy to be here today to discuss another opportunity for us to work together to address our region's major infrastructure needs, particularly the replacement of the Thomas Johnson Bridge. The replacement of the bridge will help to improve the safety and quality of life of our residents who travel it on a daily basis, and help promote our economic growth in both Calvert and St. Mary's County. Each day, more than 31,000 vehicles travel over this bridge, and this number is projected to increase in future years. When this bridge was constructed, it never was intended to have that many vehicles go over it. Representing constituents on both sides of the bridge, I know how critical this is to our residents. This project has been a high priority for our local governments in Calvert and St. Mary's, as well as the Tri-County Council for Southern Maryland. I hope that we will take the opportunity to move forward with replacing the Thomas Johnson Bridge with a new structure that will meet the needs of our residents and our region. I will continue to do everything I can to encourage the state to address this priority. Thank you again for each and every one of you and all the levels of government that have working for this. I'd like to now introduce one of my co-workers, Delegate Rachel Jones.
Good morning. So I'm pleased to be here with you all this morning. I want to give a huge thank you to Senator Cardin, to Senator Van Hollen, to our Majority Leader, Congressman Hoyer. I don't want it to be lost at all that when they are on the Hill and they are not here, they do not forget about the needs of Maryland. They don't forget about our needs right here in Calvert County and in St. Mary's. These things are a priority. They remain on their mind, and it's just a matter of having the opportunity for days like this where you get to come and announce that you've been able to deliver something. But I know it's hard fought and that you don't forget about us, so thank you. I greatly appreciate that. To our commissioners from both St. Mary's and Calvert, thank you for everything that you do to continue to keep this bridge on the forefront of all of our agendas, because we know how critical it is. As the Majority Leader already mentioned, I have had a chance to see firsthand everyone who sits here this morning. Prior to my appointment to the House, I've had a chance to watch how diligently they all work to try to find the funding and try to address the problems that we have in the community and to try to find solutions for the issues that we have with the Thomas Johnson Bridge. I'm so pleased that they were able to get us this federal funding in order to be able to go towards the new bridge that we need. However, it's already been said, and so I just want to reiterate, as the chair of the Tri-County Council for Southern Maryland's Regional Infrastructure Advisory Committee, I work with George to ensure that we try to find all kinds of ways to address the challenges that we're having. And so while we've met with folks who want to give us other solutions for this bridge and privatize or potentially toll, that's not something that we as a region are really looking for. And so days like today, when we're talking about how we get additional federal funding and how we get additional state funding to make this possible, so that we don't have to put more of a burden on our residents here in Calvert and St. Mary's. It's critical to our workforce, as it's already been mentioned. Between Pax River and between our stakeholders, between Cove Point and Calvert Cliffs. But it's also critical for our safety. And so we've talked about the recent deaths that we've seen, the growth or the increase in those deaths. And Delegate Brian Crosby and myself and in the House and Delegate Mark Corman have had some meetings with MDOT to talk about suicide prevention measures on the bridge. And obviously, as it's already been said, it's sort of time too late for more patches or more small fixes. We need a new bridge. And so this federal funding is a great step in the right direction. And now I'd ask that all of you who've joined us today join with us as we continue to put pressure on the Maryland Department of Transportation to ensure that this bridge gets the adequate amount of funding that it needs so that we can replace it without having to seek other options like tolling. And so I'm grateful to Senator Bailey and to Senator Jackson, who's not here with us today, but for all the efforts that our members, our colleagues in the House of Delegates and in the Maryland Senate also make to try to make sure that we address this problem. So to Delegate Clark and to Delegate Fisher as well and Delegate Morgan, I just want to just reiterate that it's critical that we all make sure we do our part to give voice to what the needs are here. And so I thank you all for being here. And I have the great pleasure of being able to introduce County Commissioner and Chair of the Tri-County Council for Southern Maryland, Commissioner Todd Morgan from St. Mary's County.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming over here today. As Buddy said, it's always cooler in Calvert County. I think it's cooler over in St. Mary's, so I'll just split the river down the middle and take it from there. How's that? I want to thank Congressman Hoyer, Senator Cardin, and Senator Van Hollen for coming down here today to talk about the needs of the bridge. But as my mom said, you always save the best for last, so that's me. So some statistics, just for numbers. 30,000 people cross that bridge plus or minus every day. 17,000 people cross the nice Middleton Bridge every day. When I had the opportunity back in the 80s to work with Congressman Hoyer on the BRAC, it was about bringing jobs to Southern Maryland. And the better, as Congressman Hoyer said, if you don't grow, you go. So we continue to grow. Pre-COVID, 3,000 persons traveled across that bridge from Calvert County every day to work on the base of PACS. That was, if there's 22,000 people, 3,000 people a day coming over. Look at numbers. From a numbers point of view, St. Mary's and Calvert get a return of about 40 cents on the dollar for every dollar they send up to Annapolis. That's incredible. So a lot of people have been talking about what else we have. We have retail on both sides. Both counties travel back and forth between each other to provide retail. We have rescue squads. Both Solomon's goes over St. Mary's County. St. Mary's comes over here to help Calvert. We have emergency services problems. We have to get the bridge problem resolved. There's a lot of money still sitting up in Annapolis that hasn't been spent. $750 million, $700 million, a big number regardless of how you look at it, to rebuild this bridge. But the important thing to understand is that everyone has talked about safety, we've talked about security, we've talked about jobs, we've talked about infrastructure. At this point in time, guys, it's time to build the damn new bridge. Thank you.
Lady, gentlemen, that's all that they had. I have nothing else. So unless you would like to invite something from the audience, I think we're good to go.
Any members of the press have any questions as well?
Members of the press?
I guess we answered all the questions.
It's a trick. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.